Good morning, Rabbi Isai. Welcome. Oh, beautiful oilam. Very nice. Shkaya for coming. So, what's your name? David what? Kehain. And you are Thomas. You're a Hartman grandchild. Unbelievable. What's your first name again? Jacob Thomas. And you with the MDY shirt. What's your name? Yosef. Yosef with the MDY shirt. Unbelievable. Okay, Rabbi Isai, thank you so much for coming. Be'ezer Hashem, every night we have a shir here in Hebrew at 7 o'clock. We hope to be done 10 to 8 so that we can upload and get started really on time. But 8:05. This coming Thursday, shir is going to be live in Skokie. Skokie Community Kollel. Here, have a seat. You have to sit down during shir. Yeah. I just wanted to share with you, this was in Eretz Yisrael today. The oilam in Eretz Yisrael, they come every single day. They come to the Beis Medrash, and here it is. So it happens to be, I got on Zoom. I'm not going to do the sound now because it's complicated. It's a little bit of but a beautiful oilam. And every day they have a little bit of food there. One day they had chalent, schnitzel. Now because it's already Rosh Chodesh, tonight it's already Rosh Chodesh, no more meat. So they had ice cream. This is, we have our editor, his name is Kobe Goldschmidt, and these are his children saying good morning, Rabbi Isai in Hebrew. Gewaldig. So this is an unbelievable email. One of the better ones. Mazel's having a 30th anniversary. So I said in shir, I want to take my wife somewhere special because for the last 10 years, every year, or 9 years, every year, I say, it's just what's special about a 21st anniversary. We're not doing anything. Wait until the 30th, 22nd, 23rd. Every year, I've kept it pushing. Here it is. It finally showed up. Now I got to do something special. So this guy has an amazing idea. Really amazing. I really enjoyed it a lot. Wishing you many more lange gesunte Jahren. As you haven't booked anything to celebrate the occasion yet, can I suggest Manchester? I can't guarantee the weather, but there are many beautiful places. I think he's serious. Plus the Yiddish infrastructure to provide minyanim and kosher food. I was just there, like in the last month. It's nothing to write home about. The Yidden over there, they live mamish l'shem shamayim. There's nothing, no other way to describe it. Many people come from all over the UK to our city for the summer, and we'll be able to provide spacious Batei Medrash and good enthusiastic crowds for this year. We know you love Manchester, the place of the first out-of-town MDY Chabur. That is true. It's the first group that got together watching our shir live before it was even called MDY. We look forward to you returning and wish you a good summer break. Kol tov our Chaim David. He should have a refuah shleima. He's going through treatments now. He should have a complete refuah shleima. Talking about Manchester, I don't think I have this here. I might have put it on the other one. Yeah, I don't think so. But today is the Daf anniversary for one of the biggest parts of MDY, and that is Shimi Leifman. Shimi Leifman of Manchester. 3 years today. He started with Sukkah. Anybody that started with Sukkah is basically his 3rd year anniversary right now, and he's been an unbelievable part of MDY. The amount of people, maybe in the hundreds, that he brought to Torah, and he's the head of the Chabur over there in Manchester. Him and Yosef Dahari, but he's a big driving force. Oh, here he is. Where's your son though? Don't tell me he's in camp. Look, he's here. You brought him? You related to that guy? That's why you know. Very good. Okay. So Rabbi Isai, don't forget, here, Yisrael Shalitsky wrote that when we, today's Chavetz Chaim Lashon Hara, it's a kiss from Hashem. Steve, now he's going to want to do it.
My phone's off.
Yeah, I know, your phone's off. A kiss and a hug from Hashem. In today's Chavetz Chaim Lashon Hara, he quotes today's Daf, Bava Basra Daf Lamed Tes. The halachas, the famous halachas, apet lasa. If you say Lashon Hara in front of 3 people, could you say it? Not say it. The Chavetz Chaim is all He doesn't like what the Rashbam says. The Rashbam, other Rishonim say you're allowed to talk Lashon Hara if it said it from the three. The Chavetz Chaim wasn't a whole thing. It's not true. Other Rishonim. So it happens to be that that's in the Hilchas Lashon Hara of that day. If you do Hilchas Lashon Yomi, it was in that day. Have a good Shabbos, all the best, Yisrael. Okay, Rabbi Yisrael, here we go. We're Daf Mem Aleph today. Starting from the Mishnah. Mem Aleph means that we're 40 daf into Bava Basra. It's unbelievable. So far, so good. We really had a very bunch of easy dapim. The first 30 daf for sure. Even now, Chizkes Sabatim, shorter dapim, pretty easy stuff. We're starting from a brand new Mishnah. If you're just starting with us, if today's your first day, I doubt that anybody's the first day. It could be. Anybody here first time ever? No. Okay, so, yeah? Y'all, it's your first time in MDY. Givaldi. So, I have to say the sponsors. Thank you. So, if today's your first day, it's literally a brand new Mishnah, and it's a great place to start. Although we don't need Mishnahs to start, we can start anywhere, but it's always good to have a good Mishnah. The Masechta sponsors the safe and speedy return of all the hostages. Paras HaChodesh, we have two of them. L'refuah shleima, Neftalei Herz ben Hanya, a hidden tzaddik in our generation. Paras HaChodesh, L'nishma Zechraya ben Moshe, L'nishma Chaya bas Yosef. Paras HaYom, L'nishma Rivka bas Chayim Moshe aleh Shalom, L'neshama should have an aliyah. Paras HaYom, Eric Taieb, for the protection and success of my children, Liran, Orel, and Eden. Eden, how do you? Amen. And Paras HaYom in honor of MOURAD NAKASH. Wherever you are, you're a big tzaddik. I love MOURAD. Paras HaYom, Loren and Sora Deetza, Spigelman in honor of 20 years, Yishkoyach, living in Eretz Yisrael for 20 years. Pause. I'm like Biden. It says pause, I read it. And for the birth of their first grandchild, a girl born to Devorah and Ariel Markus in Yerushalayim, Mazel Tov. Does that mean that Loren just became a grandfather for the first time? I guess so. Mazel Tov, Loren. He sits on the table, on the main table in MDY. He's a big part of the shir. Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov. Rabbi Yisai says the Mishnah. Kol chazaka she'eni matayna ena chazaka. We've been talking about this from the beginning of Cheskes Sabatim, that sitting in a person's house for 3 years, although it's considered a chazaka of shalishanim, it's a chazaka. But what is chazaka? Chazaka is not a kinyan. You don't acquire something through a chazaka. We'll see actually tomorrow that you could acquire real estate with a chazaka, but not the chazaka of 3 years. What kind of chazaka do you acquire real estate with? Working on it. Noal, godar, paratz. But that's something else completely. It's not even the same. It's the same word. It means something else. It's like beer that you drink and a beer in the zoo. It's two different things. One is a chazaka of 3 years. One is a chazaka that you're taking action and you're being kind. But over here we're talking about the 3 years. Kol chazaka sheini matayna in a chazaka. If you sit in somebody's field for 3 years, it's great proof that you own it, provided that you tell them and explain why it's in your possession. You can't say, as the Mishnah is going to explain, I found this and I sat in it. I'm a squatter. If you admit that you're a squatter, it doesn't work la halacha. It might work in America, not in la halacha. The owner says, what are you doing here? Why are you squatting in my place? Nobody told me I should leave. Ain't a chazaka. That's not a chazaka. So what if you're there for 3 years? You have to come with a claim. But the claim is, if I say, you sold it to me, you gave it to me as a gift, only you. What if I say somebody else gave it to me as a gift? Somebody else sold it to me? That's not a good title as we saw. It has to be, you gave it to me as a gift, you gave it to me, as you sold it to me. Your own father sold it to me. Your father gave it to me as a gift. That is a perfect chazaka. Then the 3 years that I was there worked. And if I come as an inheritor, I don't need to claim that my father bought it, my father got it as a gift. I don't know anything. The Yosem doesn't know. He just takes it and he doesn't need a taina. However, we're going to see in the Gemara that you do need to bring proof from Eden. That was the father's. You don't have to explain how he got it, but you need Eden that the father sat there. So, Gemara says, this seems like a very, very simple concept. This idea that you need to tell someone, you need to say that you bought it, pshita, what's the chiddush? Like I showed it a number of times, at least once. The guy sitting in the mansion in Florida. There's a mansion, a guy couldn't pay the mortgage, and he left the mansion. Comes a guy, sits in the mansion for 7 years rent-free. Then he went and he goes to the bank and he claims that it's his. He has a taina to the bank. How could you throw me? I'm here for 7 years. I have a chazaka, nobody said anything. The Gemara says there's no such thing. What do you mean? You have to acquire it. Sitting illegally in somebody's property doesn't make it yours. Says Gemara, no. I would think that the machzik, the guy sitting in there, maybe actually bought it. The truth is he bought it. And he had a star and it was lost. And the reason why he's lying, if I say the truth that I bought it, this land, they'll say, so where's your star? So maybe we Bezdin should make a claim for him. No, maybe you had a star that was lost. There's a pasuk in Mishlei. It says in Mishlei, Psach pichol, you should open your mouth for the mute. In other words, we help out the mute. The mute means somebody who's not capable of claiming something. The yasam, the typical case is a yasam. You have a 10-year-old that inherited a house. Comes the neighbor, the Russia, and says, it's my house. Your father sold it to me, he gave it to me. He knows how to fight. He doesn't know how to fight, so we fight for him. This is a pasuk, Psach Pichalile. I would think that we open up our mouth for him and we say, hey, you had a star and it was lost, Kamashmal, and we don't. So, first of all, listen to this. The guy could have said the truth. Yeah, a guy comes to the Chavetz Chaim, says, the government wants to know how old I am. Should I tell them that I'm 50 or should I say that I'm 70? So Chavetz Chaim says, how old are you? He says, I'm 60. So why don't you say you're 60? Oh, I didn't think about that. Like, the first thing that comes to mind is you got to play shtick. You got to say something that's not, why don't you just say the truth? The guy bought this house. He's the legitimate owner. He bought it legally. So say that you bought it. No. If I say that I bought it, then maybe they'll say, where's your star? But the truth is, even if they say, where's your star, what's the answer? I don't need a star. After 3 years, I don't need a star. So if I would have said the truth, it would be much better. What did he say instead? He says, I don't know. Nobody told me to leave. I'm here. Nobody told me to leave. That's terrible. Now, it happens to be that even if Bezdin help him out and Bezdin says, well, maybe you bought it and you lost your star, so there's a concept, we got to talk about the concepts so we don't forget them. If you go to Bezdin and you tell Bezdin, you say, this and this is what happened. And then later on you say, this and this is what happened. It doesn't work. You can't claim another claim. But the Rishbam says that this will be within the same claim. You say, nobody told me to leave, and we're going to explain it that you actually bought it and you lost your star. I see that the editor threw this in here. I didn't put it in, but this is the mansion that the guy bought and squatted there for 7 years, and now he demands that should be his, and he's going to sue for all the legal fees and everything. These are inside pictures, spiral staircase. Here's the guy. Class act of a guy. Adverse possession, that's what it is. Claim an empty property by occupying for 7 years. 7 years chazaka. It's halacha. It's similar to Tower chazaka, but very different, because we're saying that you need a, what do you call it? It comes with sound, but I'm not in the mood of hearing, it's going through whatever. Okay, so it happens to be, I just want to pause here for a second. In our parasha, we have the pasuk talks about saying the truth, and we have to be honest. As I mentioned, the classic case of psach pichel le'ileim, you should open up your mouth for a person who's mute, is for a yosem. We should help out the orphan. I was davening Shachris in Reb Ashkenazi shul on Ditmas, on Avenue F, actually. Avenue F in Kensington. I must have been like 15, 16 years old. And there was a 13-year-old boy who was davening for the Amud. He lost his father, lost one of his parents. He was a Yosef. And the kid was breaking his teeth while he was davening. Breaking his teeth. It was hard to listen to. Like, he barely knew how to read. And there he is, he's davening for the Amud. An old man who went through, I'm sure he went through the concentration camps and everything, scream out in the middle of Shemon Esrei, in the middle of Chazar Shatz, kick it on and siddur. Look inside the siddur. In other words, read. What are you doing? Read. So after davening, my father went over to him and said, this kid doesn't want to be a chazan. He's forced to be a chazan. He wishes he doesn't have to be a chazan. It's very hard for him as is. He's a yosem. We have a chiyuv to treat him with respect and not embarrass him in public like that. So the guy started cursing my father. He said, "Die kleine Rotzer." I never heard that expression before. I'll never forget it. It means you're a snot face. You have snot coming out of your nose. Die kleine Rotzer. He's yelling at him. He says, "You're going to tell me how to talk? Who the heck do you think you are?" Anyways, but this is psach pichel le'ileim. He's literally Elam. He's mute. He couldn't daven Shemon Esrei normally, and somebody stuck up for him. So I'm proud of my father that he did that. It's typical him. So, but I think this is very important. I said this back in the day, and I'm going to say it again. I might be wrong, but I think psach pichel le'ileim is even a much, much bigger chiyuv for every one of us to go and tell the guy, that guy, I've done it this Shabbos twice, that guy that doesn't learn Torah, that guy that's busy all day long making a parnasa, forgets, he remembers the days in yeshiva, but he had a hard time, he had trauma in yeshiva. Psach pichel le'ileim, we have to open up, it's our chiyuv. There's a chiyuv of don't stand by, don't be that Americanish guy, like, it's none of my business. Why should I intervene? They're having a fight. They're doing this and that. Or, they're about to take the guy's house away. I don't want to intervene. I'm just telling you that's not what the Torah says. The Torah says if you know information that guy doesn't have, it's your chiyuv to jump in and help him out. Save his house. Save his property. Save whatever it is. This guy, the Gemara said, he bought it. Maybe we should help him out and say, hey, you had a shtar, you got lost. Well, help him out. That's our chiyuv. So that's on Gashmis, that's on a house. On Ruchnis, Kavachomer, Ben Benosh, Kavachomer, when we can help out a guy and we see a guy struggling in Ruchnis, we have a chiyuv. It's a chiyuv. Don't be that guy. Oh, it's none of my business. It's between him and Hashem, people say. Yeah, it's not. Why is it is your business. He's your brother. We call Yisrael Arevim Zelazeh. It hurts. It hurts to see a guy who could do so much better, and he's so successful in business, he has a good head, and he doesn't do anything with Torah. Psach pichel le'ileim. Remember that. Zog the Gemara. Einav Simon. It's just the wording of the Gemara of Anon is the ayin. Okay, it's to remember. Rav Anon shokal bitko ba'arei. Fascinating story here. It actually happens to us. Here in America, it happened to me a number of times. I'm sure Yosef, you know a bunch of stories like this. What happened over here was there was a flood, and it knocked down his fence. And when you rebuild the fence, sometimes, unintentionally, you rebuild the fence on your neighbor's property. Now, today it's a lot easier. We have surveyors, and they come with lasers, and everything is... But imagine the time of the Gemara, a big field, 100 acres, to put the fence 6 inches this way. It's not. How are you going to know? How are you going to figure it out? So just see, this is a very serious situation. A very expensive fence fell down here. Let me see if I could. Here, I need some volume though. Gewaldig.
River Katir in Turkana East broke its banks after heavy rains pounded the area, resulting to damage of property.
So, Hadar Guda Ba'ari de Chavrei. Ozal Hadar Guda Ba'ari de Chavrei. Ravana went and rebuilt the fence a little bit over the property line into his friend's property. So, Ozal came to Rav Nachman. They came to Rav Nachman. Omer Lei Zil Hadar. I don't understand the Shiloh, says Rav Nachman. You stole some of his property. Yeah, by mistake. Give it back. So he says, Vachzikli. This guy, the neighbor, told me, here, let's build a fence together. He came out with his tools. He came out with his children. We rebuilt it together. It's as if he told me to do a chazaka in it. Lei chazak vikni. Not a chazaka of 3 years. The other chazaka. Remember? Here. Just so we can see it there. We'll use it again. But there's 2 types of chazakas. Chazaka of 3 years, which is not a kinyan, it's just a raya. And then you have the kinyan chazaka. Noah, Godar, Paratz, Rafak, we'll show you the pictures tomorrow. That's a kinyan. The neighbor helped me build it. So what's the problem? It should be mine. So I know you saw it 20 times, 21 times, just to remind you the sugya. Here. What happened? A guy was making a chazak on somebody's field. Somebody saw him, so he ran to the owner who was 365 days away in Spain. Here goes the clock, it's 365, yeah? All the way to Spain. He gets to Spain, tells him, hey, somebody's doing chazak on your property, he can't believe it. He puts down his pina colada and takes a trek. Goes all the way back, 365. Why am I showing this to you? Because this is Rabbi Yehuda who says that chazaka is really, believe it or not, chazaka only takes 1 day. So why is there 360? Why is it 3 years? Yeah, he made him a cha, burnt the garbage can, the whole thing. Mama's like in Yerushalayim. But he's throwing a hefker. He's threw in all the proper lines. Give out the whole thing. Says Rabbi Yehuda, the only time you need 3 years is when the guy's in Spain, because Spain is a year away from Eretz Yisrael. So you need a year to do chazak, a year to go, a year to come. It's 3 years. But without Spain, how long does it take to do a chazaka? 1 day. Oh, so if maybe you hold like Rabbi Yehuda, the chazaka is 1 day. So we're going with the chazaka thing. Forget about the nog other parts that I said before. That if you live in the same neighborhood, it's not Spain and Eretz Yisrael, but you live on that block, it's 1 day. We don't pass the Mishmal. Okay, so Ravanon accepts that. Still, he doesn't want to give up his property that he took by mistake. What about the fact that the neighbor was moichel me? He was moichel me, why? There's Edim that saw that he gave it to me. He said it's okay. There's Edim. There's Edim that saw that he worked there, he helped me with the fence. Isn't that a mechila? Isn't that forgiveness? He gave it to me. You didn't care. Omar lei mechila b'tos hui. That's a mechila b'tos. What does that mean? The guy didn't know that he's moichel you. The reason why he helped you with the fence is because he thought, like you thought. I know you, Rav Anon, you're a chashuv person, you're in Shas, you're in Amoira, you're not a Ganav, you didn't try to take the other person's field. What happened was you made a mistake. So you made an honest mistake, So did your neighbor. Your neighbor also made an honest mistake. When he gave it to you, he didn't realize he's giving you something. You thought he's helping you in your property. There's a few famous stories that I like. There's a guy that was in a taxi in Eretz Yisrael, and he comes to his house. The guy says, okay, that's 100 shekel. So he starts looking for his wallet. He says, oh boy, I know I have my wallet here. It must have fallen between the crack in the seat. So he starts looking in the crack, he can't find it. So he tells the driver, I'm going to go into my house and I'm going to go get money. So he goes to his house, and the driver thinks to himself, wow, this guy just dropped the wallet in my car. I'm out of here. So he zoomed away. So the question was, does the guy have to pay the guy for the taxi ride or not? It was a mechila b'tos, like, since he ran away, so he was moichelim. There's a similar story, which it's hard to, there's some place that said, no, he still owes. There's a guy that he was like in line for the cash machine, and he had a piece of like cheesecake in his hand or something. So somebody saw it, and he thought that he was holding a big pile of money. So he asked the guy, hey, could you count my money? He had like he says, I can't, my fingers. So he gives him this pile of money. So the guy takes the cheesecake and puts it on the floor, and he starts counting the guy's money. So the guy grabs the cheesecake and ran away, and he left him with his pile of money. Basically, he gave the guy $100 to count because he thought that what he put on the floor was like $10,000, and he ran away with it. Is that a mechila? Is that a mechila b'tos? There's such a thing as I'm being moichel you, but I had no idea that I'm moichel you. I thought that I'm not moichel you. Is that a mechila or not? So says the Gemara. So he told him beautifully, Ad gufach, you Ravanon, why did you put the fence over the line, the property line? Why did you go into your friend's property? You'd have never done it deliberately. Just like you didn't know. The neighbor also didn't know about it. So in Mela, you can't say that he was Michael you. Here's a gewaldige thing. I don't know if people know this. It says in the Torah, Sasig gvul riyacha. You're not allowed to go over the property line. You're not allowed to grab your property, your friend's property. Is that halacha all over the world or only in Eretz Yisrael? You can say it's 50-50, whatever you say. You can say mechlokas, you can say whatever you want. It's halacha only in Eretz Yisrael. In America, if you go over the property line, what are you? You're a ganav. In addition to being a ganav in Eretz Yisrael, there's a halacha lisasik v'lriach. You're not allowed to go over the property line. Zog the Gemara. Rav Kahana, another story. Rav Kahana shokal bitko ba'ari. There was a flood that went through Rav Kahana's land. This is Rav Kahana, the famous Rav Kahana in Shas. Yosef, your wife gave you shus to be here to learn Torah, not to go to sleep. Otherwise, you have to be home and take care of the kids. No, it's a good taina. Hope she's not watching. Anyway, so a flood goes through the property, and once again, Rav Kahana by mistake puts the fence up in the wrong part of the property on the other guy's property. Also, coming to Rabbi Yehuda, he comes to Rabbi Yehuda. Also, I see Trey Sahade. He brings the neighbor brings two witnesses. Listen to this. This is amazing. He brings two witnesses, and this throws us into a little tiny sugya, but a beautiful sugya of Chadom artarti tziyosel, the Chadom artlos tziyosel. You hear the shaila? The question is Shalom Avracha. You have two Eidim that say separate things. One Eid says, you hear, it's a beautiful question. Two Eidim are testifying on behalf of the property owner, but one Eid says, you took, here's a row, let's say. One row, 2 rows, sorry. One Eid said you took 2 rows, the other one said you took 3 rows. One thing is clear. The Rav Kahana for sure took how many rows? 2. According to everybody, it's 2. Now, do we view the Eidim as liars? Because one said 2 rows, the other one said, I saw 3. So you're lying. One of you is lying, no? Because 3 means not 2.
It's 2 and 3.
Oh, see, you could look at it differently. Anyway, I just thought I'll show you this little video here. I thought it's cool. Let me take off the sound here. Remind me to turn the sound on. Turn this.
It's shocking video of a garage getting demolished, the culmination of a furious neighbor versus neighbor dispute. He endured years of disagreements with his next-door neighbors in Maine. Braun says he took his drastic action after having his land surveyed and learning that half of the neighbor's garage was technically on his property. So he decided to, well, saw the garage in half.
Back in April, the property line was here, but then Gabriel got a surveyor who said it was here.
I had the survey done, and it turns out I owned another foot of this garage.
So Gabriel said, I'm taking the part on my land down.
Yeah, we just cut it, man. It was great.
Whether or not that was the right thing to do, we'll leave that to viewers.
Can you unmute yourself?
Let's repeat. I have to repeat because it's not gonna. Yeah, Mark, I should repeat. Whatever. Okay.
Of course, please. We missed all of your good narrative on the video.
Ouch. Okay, so what I was saying is that in Eretz Yisrael it happens a lot. I don't know about here in America. It happened to us in our shul in Eretz Yisrael. People in our shul, the guy did it on purpose, whatever. But usually it's on purpose. People build into other people's properties. So what do? If somebody builds in somebody else's property, the Ramah says you have no choice, you have to knock it down. So what happens if the guy says, I don't want to knock it down, I want to pay for it? So the guy that owns the property says, okay, you want to pay for it? Instead of it $100,000, I want $2 million. Is that okay? Either knock it down, the Ramah says knock it down, either knock it down, give me $2 million. We know you have a lot of money, you'll have to cough up big dough. You shouldn't have made your little mistake. Now that you made your mistake, you're going to pay for it. So it's a shiloh. It could be that some say that you could only ask for market value, etc., but the best thing is not to infringe on somebody else's property, and then we wouldn't have any issues. But there's no enough. You can ask for whatever you want, but there's a market value. You go on, what is it called? Zilli, whatever it's called. Zillow. Ask him, he'll tell you what the market value is. No, that's what you're saying is not accurate. There's a market. Everybody knows that the houses in this neighborhood go for about $300,000-$400,000 in Shalom Yisrael, so somewhere in there. You want $10 million, you could take that money. You're not over and enough, but that doesn't make a market. There is a standard market, and in all karkais just means that you're not over and enough. In certain situations, it's not even so simple that it's unlimited. Unlimited is another shit. Okay. But there is a market. So, says the Gemara. Now we have another, we're talking about a different question. Yeah. You have Edim who say that Rav Kahana infringed 2 rows, let's call it 2 feet, and the other Edim say 3 feet. Certainly 2 feet. Everybody agrees it's 2 feet, but maybe even 3 feet. Is that a contradiction in the Edim or not? Now, Rav Kahana, what about Rav Kahana himself? There's another question. Rav Kahana himself. Rav Kahana, how many times he brought that in Shas? Maybe he's puzzled like this. He lied. He said it's his. Not only that, he's going to Bezdin over this. So, there's a shul in Beis Yisrael, Reb Zilberstein brings us. The shul in Beis Yisrael, it's called Beis Yaakov. And there's a sign in the shul that says, this shul was built with 50 golden Napoleon coins, v'hu peli. What does it mean? So what happened was, there was a guy that borrowed 50 golden coins, this tremendous amount of money. I just said a story about the kid that bought a candy with 1 golden coin. This 50 golden coins. And the day he came to pay back the loan, he went to the chush of a guy that gave him the loan, and he paid him. But the guy was in the middle of learning. There's a few stories like that with Rishash, but this is a different one. He's in the middle of learning, and he put the money aside, and he completely forgot that he got paid back. Then he came to the Malva, to the Leiva, and he said, "Yo me the 50 coins." So they went to Bezdin. They went to Reb Dayan. And Reb Dayan said to the Leiva, "You have to make a shvuah heses, that you paid back." So he said, "I'm not going to make a shvuah heses." He paid him. Erev Pesach, the lender found the 50 coins. So he went back to the guy. The guy says, "No, I already paid you. I did a belev shalom. I don't want the money back." So they went back to Reb Dayan. What do we do? The Leiva doesn't want to take his money back. I feel terrible. I took from him twice. So Reb Dayan said, "Build a shul," and that's why they built the shul in Beis Yisrael. It's called Beis. It's there today. It's called Beis Yaakov. But the guy, the Talmud Chacham that took the money twice, he's not pasalei this. It was an honest mistake, and this is what happened over here to Rav Kahana. He made an honest mistake. I've said it a bunch of times. I'll say it again. There were two people that came to Rav. They were fighting over a piece of property. This guy said he put the fence like this, 3 inches this way. He said, "No, it's really that way." Fight. So the Rav said, "You know what? Let's go to the property. Let's take a look." So come there, and the guy's explaining to him, "Look, my fence was right over here. He took it over there." And the guy says, "So Rav says, you want to make? Let's just make a compromise. Let's put the fence, in between what you say and what he says." "Absolutely not. I want every single thing." And this guy said, "Absolutely not this way." So Rav says, "You know what? Let's see what the field has to say." So he bends down on his feet and he puts his ear on the ground. Oh, the field is laughing. He says, "Not that I owe you this and he owes you. Both of you are going to be mine in just a few years. Don't worry about it. You'll both be here." And then, of course, then the story is they realize, wow, we're going to be dead soon. Why are we fighting over shtosim? So they gave in. Okay. Says the Gemara. Omar Lei. Rav Yehuda, right? It's the top words of the Amud. Rav Kahana went to Rav Yehuda. Rav Yehuda paskins, if we have two Eden that say that you infringed 2 rows and another aid says, one aid says 2 rows, the other aid says 3 rows, we can understand at least that there's 2 rows here that you owe him. Omar Lei. Zil Shalem Tartemigoy Tlas. You have to pay 2 out of 3. Omar Lei, Keman. Where did you get this from? Reb Shimon ben Elazar. You got this from Reb Shimon ben Elazar. So let me just say Balpeh, very, very simple. There's a Mishnah. Machlokes Beis Hillel and Beis Shammai. If there are 2 Eidim against 2 Eidim, 2 against 2, these Eidim say that so-and-so borrowed $100, and these Eidim say it was $200. So he owes at least how much? 100. Or maybe it's 2 against 2 and you have to cancel them both out and there's nothing. So that's Machlokes Beis Shammai Beis Hillel. Comes Reb Shimon ben Elazar says, no, the Machlokes is not 2 against 2. The Machlokes is 2. 1 8 says 100 and 1 8 says 200. Within one pair of Eidim, they're saying different things. Is that a contradiction of the Eidim or not? There's within 200, there's 100. Amen. Where's the real machlokes? Kasachas. That's the machlokes. If it's only 2 Eidim, 1 pair. One is saying you owe 100, the other one says 200. That's exactly our case over here. That 1 8 says you infringed 3 rows, the other one says you infringed 2 rows. Same idea. It's not a contradiction. It's like what Yosef was saying. No, they both agreed to one thing. There's one thing that one guy says different. Wait a minute, I could prove it. I have a letter from Eretz Yisrael that the law is not like Reb Shimon ben Elazar. The Basil never said that. Very good. Show me the letter, then I'll believe it. Right now I don't believe it, and we're going to pass it like Basil, like Reb Shimon ben Elazar and Basil. That what? That if you have 2 Eidim, one says 200, one says 300, or one says 3 rows, one says 2 rows. You take the minimum amount. It's not a contradiction in the Eidim. You take the minimum amount. There was a person, a story. Rabbi says story time. There was a man who lived in the city called Kashta, Be'ilisa. in the attic. Here we even have a picture. Oh. Too late. We'll do it. Okay, while you guys enjoy this picture, or sponsored by Yisrael Sher, turning of the Daf, sponsored by Yisrael Sher, construction management supervision. He's a guy that comes to the shir every day. He's a great guy. In Live Shir community, also a guy in the shir, by Ari Rosen Steen. Protecting families today before tomorrow's unexpected loss. Kidnovations LLC, in honor of my uncle Reb Elchanan Pressman, and official, and as a schus for Akiva Simcha Ben Fayga, and Rivka Yehudis ben Yafa Chaya. You know who you are, and you know what you need. I know who you are, I know what you need. NAKASH Baruch should give you everything. Givaldi. So anyways, this guy standing up is saying to this guy, what in the world? What are you doing in my attic? It's my daughter's biggest fear. I don't know what. She always talks about this. The story she saw once is probably not true. This lady lived in somebody's closet for a few years or something. She found some, leftover crumbs. Every time the guy went to work, this lady came out of the closet and ate up his food. That's her biggest fear. She checks closets all the time. I showed her this picture today. She FaceTimed me. I told her I want to show her son something. I knew she's going to have a heart attack. She said, oh, what are you showing? There's a little ladder there. He comes in through the attic, through the skylight. Everything's gewaldic. So, it happens to be, Rabbi Isai, you know the famous Sefer Shmir Shabbos Kol Chasa? You know the story behind it? So, Rabbi Shua Neuvert, he was in, I forgot where it was, Netherlands or something, during the war. He was hiding from the Nazis in an attic for 3 years. Also, 3 years. This story, Mama's story. And they say that he had with him, either it was the Mishnah Berurah Chele Gimel, or like he had some sefer about Hilchos Shabbos, and that's where he went through the Hilchos Shabbos. He became a pro in Hilchos Shabbos. Anyway, it's interesting. I remember when I was a kid, Shmir Shabbos Kol Chasa had like a little bit of what's the word? It was controversial. You remember that? Yeah, there's certain halachas that he. Wow, Shalom Aleichem. There's 44 people on YouTube right now. Beautiful. No, it was controversial, I think, because basically he said things that he was mechulek on. First of all, he was young. The Stipler wrote a very, very sharp letter against him, and Rabbi Landau, Kitzer, Rav Vosner gave him a haskama. Rav Vosner took away the haskama. Today, it became a very popular sefer. Maybe I shouldn't be talking about it. Just remember, it was like I think it, and he was Michael, everybody. He says later on in his life, he says, I know, and Bnei Brak, they came out against me, it's fine. I think because he was young and he said certain halachas, he would argue with the Chavetz Chaim as if he was like his colleague, and the Gedolim didn't like it so much, but I think at the end of the day, it was very practical, very down-to-earth sefer. But anyway, I just thought about it because he was in the attic. I think that's the story. He was in the attic for 3 years, hiding. Here's a guy sitting in the attic for 4 years. Also married the Beis Ashkechei. One day, the owner of the house decides to go look for his Purim costumes in the attic. Ashkechei sees a guy sitting there. Orel, my boy's by Beisa. What in the world? What are you doing in my attic? I thought I heard. Sometimes at night you hear like little things in the attic, but it's the vents. They're expanding and contracting. It turns out it's not the vents. There's a guy living in your attic. Check that attic. Ashkechei, Amalei, my boys by Beisa. Amalei, what do you mean? I bought it from a guy who bought it from you. Now that's not a very good taina. Because when we said when you do chazaka for 3 years, you need to have a taina. It needs to be a powerful taina. It has to be a good claim. What's a claim? The Mishnah says, Shemachartali. That's what we learned in Amud Aleph. You sold it to me. You gave it to me as a gift. I bought it from your father. Something solid. I bought it from a guy who bought it from you. That's not very good, right? Also, the Kamei Reb Omerlei. So Reb Chia says, here, I have a question, Rabbi Yisai. If you were part of the shir for a while, you should know this. Who in Shas, his father and mother were both a brother and a sister of one person. This person's father. What did you say? Who? Very good. Very, very good. This is, now you know where Avi got it from. Avi's father. So I'm going to show that exactly. What did you say? You said I will check this out. He's right. Everything he said was true. Ivo, Rav Chia, and Rav. Rav's father was Rav Chia's brother, and Rav's mother was Rav Chia's sister. A brother and a sister married each other, but legally, 100% legal. They were half brother, half sister. In other words, the father was Rav Chia's half brother, the mother was Rav Chia's half sister. The mother and father were not related at all. They had a different, you see how in this chart they were not related. Ivu and Ima, Ivu is the purple, Ima all the way on the left, are not related to each other, but they happen to be both a brother and a sister to Rav Chia, and out came the Gadol Adar, the first Amoira that ever lived, the last Tana, his name was Rav. Anyway, why am I saying that? Because we're going to have that in a second. But right now we have Reb Chia. Reb Chia is the uncle. He's the middle one. His brother and his sister got married. What happened? The guy in the attic says, I bought it from Ruvain. Ruvain bought it from you. If the guy in the attic could prove that Ruvain sat in that attic for one day, only one day, then it's a great taina. Then we believe him. V'loy. Omar Rav says Rav. Rav is on the bottom. See on this chart. He's on the bottom. He's a nephew. Rav Chia's nephew. Omar Rav Avi Yisivna Kamei de Chavivi. I sat in front of my beloved, my uncle, Reb Chia. So how is Rav Chia Rav's uncle? Because Rav Chia is his father's brother and his mother's brother. That's how he's an uncle from two directions, from both sides. I could have asked you much more difficult. No, I could have said, whose uncle? Then maybe you wouldn't have known. Yeah, maybe you would have. Ask the Gemara, what, you never heard of a real estate flip? You ever do flips? I don't think I ever did a flip with you. I'm not a big flip guy. But it's geschmack. You buy a house, you buy a property, and you sell it. You just flip the contract on the spot. You make quick money, you go home. So he's saying, why do you need a riot that the guy stayed there for a day? It's possible somebody owned it for 10 minutes. I owned 2,000 apartments for 30 seconds. I did a flip on 2,000 apartments in 2005. I actually owned a bunch of them afterwards, but the deal was I bought 2,000 apartments and I flipped. It had to be done in such a way. I said this story many times. I have a picture of documents up there, literally hundreds and hundreds of signatures. I had to sign my name hundreds of times because it was a sale and a double sale. I had a what? Legal? $150,000. It was Elchanan Feinstein was the lawyer on the deal. One of the lawyers. It was Purchase Meeks. Nicholas Purchase Meeks. Elchanan Feinstein used to be a lawyer in that firm. No, that was the great deal. $150,000. It was my first big real estate deal. I almost lost it 10 times, and I was going to be stuck with a $150,000 legal bill. That was my gift. Guy from Israel. That was the whole Nisan Kakun, the whole story. You know the stories. Anyways, that was a flip, but I didn't make any money really on the spot. It was like more like just to sell it to the investors, whatever. It's a whole long story. But people flip things. A flip means you don't own it more than 2 minutes. So why do I need a raya that the guy lived there for a day? Maybe he was there less than a day. V'chazite l'daite, says Rav, I understand my uncle's svara in the other part. If the machzik, the guy sitting in the attic says, Ruvain bought this attic, I was there, I was present when Ruvain bought it from you, Mehemen, then it will be believed. Why? Why would the guy in the attic lie and say, I was there when you sold it to Ruvain? He could have said, I was there when you sold it to me. I bought it from you. You know why I'm sitting in the attic? Because I bought it from you. That's a migui. If I'm a liar, I could have lied a much better lie. That you need a raya. What did Reb say? Reb says, if the guy in the attic could prove that the guy he bought it from Reuven sat there, was in possession of this attic for one day, then we believe him. It makes sense. It says the last words in the Mishnah, right? I think it's the last words. Yeah. When your orphan comes and says that he got it with inheritance from his father, he doesn't need a taina. He doesn't. What does a taina mean? He doesn't need to say my father got it from this and this. And it's not a taina. It says Gemara, taina deloi boy. You don't need a taina. But I could be medayik. I can infer from here haraya boy. He needs a raya. He doesn't need a taina. Taina means you don't have to say you bought it from the guy, but he would need proof. He would need edim that my father had this. And in fact, that's the halacha. The Yisayim do need edim. Says Gemara, first of all, who told you to infer it like that? Maybe you don't have to infer like that. Maybe you don't need a raya, you don't need a taina. Don't say because the Mishnah says you don't need a raya means you do need. I mean, you don't need a taina, you do need a raya. Who said? Maybe you don't need either. So says Gemara, no, I could make a distinction. When a guy buys something, he doesn't throw out his money. He knows what he's doing. He looks into it. Says the Gemara, near by my. What if this guy, this Reuven, okay, let's say the guy in the attic, right? The picture, the guy in the attic, the guy in the bed says, what do you mean? I bought it from Reuven, who bought it from you, Mr. Guy standing up. So what? So the Gemara says the guy that bought it from Reuven, the guy standing up, we have to prove that he was there for one day. As the Gemara, what if we don't know he was there for one day? We know he measured the attic. He came with his laser and his this, and he was measuring. Does that mean he bought it? Does that mean he took possession of it? What do you say? You're Mr. Real Estate. A guy that measures something, is that good enough proof that he bought it? No. Nothing. Now, nearby my Omar Abaye, yes. Why was it there? Look, so I understand what the Gemara is saying. The guy in the attic, the guy with the beard, is not making something up. He has proof that he didn't just throw out a name. Oh, I bought it from Reuven, who bought it from you. Here, Reuven actually was there one day. It makes sense what he's saying. Rav Omar, I was just going to use the word corroborated. He corroborated this, but the problem is I used it so many times, and then Chaim Heritage Foundation came, and we started doing this thing. And this, he says, I have an idea. I'm going to take a video of you, and I'm going to show it at the Chaim Heritage Foundation the Tisha B'Av video. Now, I'm a big Tisha B'Av video fan. I've watched every single one for the last 30 years. Like, oh, great. So he sits there, Michael Rothschild, takes out his phone, he says, no, say something. I said, in corroboration with the Chofetz Chaim Heritage Foundation, I wanted to say collaboration. I said corroboration. So now it's going to say corroboration. On Tisha B'Av, the other one's going to laugh like it's Purim. So I think I'm going to...
Maybe he's just measuring it because he wanted to see how big it was. If that's fitting the right pattern or something.
Yeah. Okay. Rav Amar, Ovedinish, the Soya Arif, there are people who measure and they don't buy. There's a story, I think in Ramat Bet Shemesh, this old guy, his house was for sale. So people went and they said, okay, how much do you want? $2.5 million. $2.5 million sugar? Nothing selling for more than $1 million in this building. $2.5 million. Okay. A month goes by, it's still for sale. People are still going to look at it. How much do you want? $2.5 million. A year goes by, it's still for sale. You know the story? That's what it is. Oh, yeah. Now you reminded me. So they asked him, what are you doing? You're not serious. So he says, oh, he's saying that I should have said all these names. Okay, I hear. Let's do it tomorrow. You know what? I'll say a bunch of them now. Rabbi Isai, these are the people that donated Gemaras. I have to finish the story. If I finish the story, you're going to jump away. So yeah, the middle story. So the story is the old man never wanted to sell the house. All he wanted was company. He wanted people to come visit him. So he'd show the house, he'd show around, and he said when it came time to sell, he'd say, $2.5 million. Oh, you don't want? Okay, bye. Next visitor. So the end of my story is that Rav Zilberstein went to visit the guy. They asked Rav Zilberstein, they said, is the old man allowed to do it? So Rav Zivshay said, I don't know if the old man is allowed to do it or not, but let me go visit him. And Rav Zivshay went to visit him, and the old man gave him the house as a gift. No, that's my story. That never happened. That never happened. Yeah. Anyway, I just want to tell you real quickly. I usually don't do this, but I threw this out there that since MDY spent about $50,000 on volume 1 of Bava Basra to get people to join, and with Baruch Hashem we had a lot of success. Over 5,000 Hebrew-speaking people joined Bava Basra, Hebrew speakers, and we didn't even do a lot of Gemaras for them. We did only 100, 200. Americans also, there's a few thousand that joined for Bava Basra, which is huge. I said volume 2, the Olam has to jump in. So a guy donated $10,500, which is 300 Gemaras. Tzvi Corlin donated 64 Gemaras, which is over $2,000. Yisrael Brody, 30 Gemaras. Anonymous, 10. Jeffrey Slatus, 10. Joel Zuri, 10. Jonathan Schiff, 10. Moshe Tischler, 10. Howard Weiss, 8. Dov Eisenberger, 6. Zalman Stierman, something like that, 6. Anonymous, 5. Chaim Hoffman, 4. Joe Sharp, 4. Anonymous, 3. Aaron Koth, 3. Jacob Moses, 3. Joshua Walovich, 3. Levi Folger, 3. S. Rosenfelder, 3. Yisrael Bernstein, 3. Yitzchok Tawil, 3. Yossi Srugo, 3. Aaron Novak, 3. Anonymous, 2. Elio Neiman, 2. Yoel Simonowitz, 2. We'll do the rest of the list tomorrow. Whoever wants to donate more Gemaras. Again, my push is that for $35, you could change a person's life. We've seen it hundreds and hundreds of times. $35. He gets a Gemara, starts doing the daf, changes his life, changes his family's life. For Doyers, it's one of the best tzedakahs you can give. Rabbi Isai, have a wonderful day. Thank you for joining us.